again, down and dirty. How do we actually properly gain lean mass the right way? And it's not loading the gut with a bunch of sugar and fat right before bed. I'm not demonizing sugar. I'm also pro dairy. I'm pro chocolate milk. I'm pro eggs. But this individual that ended up blocking me because I actually provided insight on how to effectively gain weight from a scientific standpoint that wasn't backed by some crazy bro science from an article that he found 20 years ago. I think that it's really reckless what happened with this individual. I don't know him personally. I don't know if it's actually a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. I just know that the account blocked me when I was trying to provide insight on how to actually gain lean mass the right way. And I am a performance dietitian. I'm a registered dietitian. I've been doing this work for a very long time. I've been helping athletes across the country, both young and old, masters athletes included, dial in their nutrition to optimize their body composition. So it was very reckless for an individual who has 60,000 followers to basically tell people to, kids rather, right? Kids to drink chocolate milk with Hershey's chocolate syrup, eggs, and full fat dairy right before bed. And to say that this is going to help you gain 8 pounds is not only a claim that is not supported by science, it's reckless because anybody who understands basic physiology knows that that amount of fat, carbohydrate, sugar right before bed is going to negatively affect sleep quality and sleep duration. So I was pretty fired up about that just because that's why people are so confused. They see stuff on social media that is not from a dietitian that's credible or an individual that actually knows what they're talking about. I love working with strength coaches. There's so many amazing strength coaches out there that know a lot about nutrition, and I love collaborating with them. But this specific individual that I'm referring to put out a tweet, like I said, that is not backed by science. So I did actually some debunking. If you go to the page, my page, the Twitter page, and you can see all the threads from, hey, if you want to eat something before bed, this is a great snack, something that's rich in casein, which is going to help with slow digesting release for our muscles. So cottage cheese, a little bit of Greek yogurt, non-fat, always before bed. That is something, again, physiologically speaking, people know that fat takes longer to digest. And you would know that if you're a dietitian. So that's why this individual, I'm always respectful. I want to be kind, but their information was so poor because kids are not going to sleep well. They're going to be negatively affected by this information because it's not correct. And it's not only not correct, it's going to hurt them. They're going to gain the wrong type of weight. We don't want to gain body fat. We want to gain lean mass. We want to be healthy. That is not healthy. I could go through a number of reasons why it's not healthy to load the gut with that amount of sugar, fat, and carbohydrate before bed because of the sleep duration and quality that will be negative affected when you imbalance blood sugar like that. The body should be in a rest digest state, not in a sympathetic state, if you will. So we want to be in that parasympathetic where we are digesting the dinner or the snack we had 2 hours prior, not right before bed. So I love eggs. I love dairy. There's a time and place for it. I'm also not against chocolate syrup. Time and place for it again, not before bed. And that's not how you gain weight. The proper way to gain weight is to add an additional 500 calories every single day. And I've actually put out videos about this explaining how do we actually know that we're adding 500 calories. Well, we can do some food journaling. The number one thing you need to do when you're trying to gain lean mass is identify, all right, how much am I eating right now? And how do I get to 3,500 calories on an average basis? So increasing 300 to 500 calories per day is the most sustainable way to do it, because if you try to eat too much too quickly, you're going to get sick, you're going to throw up, your performance will be affected. It's not sustainable. So that individual recommending all of that food right before bed, that's not the best way to do it. You want to fuel for the work required. So that would mean that we're adding in more snacks throughout the day. Extra trail mix, chocolate milk, throw in a banana in your smoothie. There's extra calories that can be equivalent to an additional 500 without making the person miserable or overloading their gut. So it becomes a very large rant because there's so many things that we can unpack within that tweet of the Hershey's chocolate, the eggs, and the whole fat dairy right before bed. So again, context is key. When you're talking to teen athletes, that is not ideal advice, and any dietitian would not recommend that. They would recommend, hey, we're going to front load our calories. We're going to add in snacks throughout the day. We want to make sure that we have a little bit of fat and protein before bed, or excuse me, a little bit of protein and carbohydrate before bed. We want to limit the fat. So, avoiding even peanut butter, avoiding nuts and seeds within an hour of sleep is ideal. And like I said, anybody who understands nutrient metabolism, digestion, all things that we learned in advanced nutrition, biochemistry, organic chemistry. I mean, dietitians, we undergo significant science training. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it seems as though people think dietitians just have food science classes, or some don't even think that. They think we have home ec classes. I went to school for 8 years. I should have been a doctor or a PA, but I love sports nutrition. I love being a performance dietitian, but we underwent rigorous training. We had a 4-year Bachelor of Science. I actually have 3 degrees. I have a Master of Science in Food and Human Nutrition. I have a Bachelor's in Dietetics, and then also in Health Promotion with a concentration in Exercise Science. So I was going to be a strength coach, but really love the value that nutrition plays. So I went that route. But the point is, we have to be not only licensed and registered, we have to have significant training. We have to maintain our CEUs. We sit for a nationally accredited exam, and we are the credible experts. I'm not being boastful or bragging. I'm just saying, just like a doctor, I'm not going to go see some random Joe Public off of Instagram if I have cancer. I'm going to go see an oncologist. I'm going to go see a specialist that is the expert in that area. If I have a hurt tooth, I'm going to go see a dentist, a licensed professional in that specific area that I need help. So if you're a coach, awesome, share the tips, but don't be providing specific nutrition recommendations like that when it's wrong and it can hurt and harm the athlete. We're getting more people on the call, which is great, but this is recorded. So people are going to be able to listen to me ranting about this because it's so important. Another component is like being a plumber. So if I have leaky pipes, if I have a toilet, I have something going on where there's water everywhere, I'm not going to go to Facebook and put out a post and say, hey, I'm literally sinking. Can somebody help me with this pipe? No, I'm going to contact a plumber. So it's not really actually that funny because there's people out there that die. There's been teen athletes that have been a type 1 diabetic, and some charlatan told them that they don't need insulin, which is so frustrating because it's not just frustrating, it's horrific. We have people out there making medical claims, and it's people's health, it's their wellness, it's their longevity, it's their risk of disease, and it can be life-threatening when you put out information that is not correct and it's not accurate. And there's tons of it out there. So filter it. Make sure that what you're following, what you're reading, it's credible. Who's the person? Are they selling something? I think with the keto, the liver diets out there, people eliminating fruits, vegetables, depending upon what platform they're following, it's so reckless. And there's only so much that I can do, that we can do, is just putting out good information and discerning and making sure to call something out. It's not disrespectful to call out something that's going to harm someone. That's called saving. That's called doing your due diligence. I took a Hippocratic oath as a registered dietitian. So for that individual who runs that account to block me because I actually provided evidence-based recommendations as an expert in nutrition, because that's what a registered dietitian is actually pretty terrifying because there's 60,000 followers, someone's told me, on their account. So I'm doing this video to provide some sort of justice and also a security blanket or net for people out there who are loving certain accounts, but then when they start to blur the lines and they start providing information that is not supportive of the research or correct. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not going to go out there and tell people how to dose their insulin, what medications they should be taking. No, that would be absolutely reckless. And I pray that somebody would call me out. If I were doing that, my goodness, I should lose my license. That's not safe. It's not ethical, and it's not correct. So the proper way to gain weight, for those that are just joining us, I had talked about at the beginning, is increasing your portions, increasing the frequency of your meals. You can add in 500 calories per day on average. At the end of the week, you would be adding about a pound per week. And the reality is that you want to make sure that food you're consuming is quality. You don't want to just eat a bunch of Pop-Tarts. You want to have lean protein because your body needs amino acids. It needs quality carbohydrates. for you to actually lift the weights and to also train, right? We can't gain lean mass if we're just eating a bunch of food. It's going to turn to body fat. If we're not utilizing it as well, it's going to go to storage and will add energy to our body, which is a great protective mechanism. But in regards to gaining lean mass, it's very hard to actually gain muscle because most people are not eating enough high quality protein. They also feel that they need to go into this bulking phase where they eat just a bunch of carbs and sugar. No, 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 no. It's ideal for you to actually increase your protein intake and increase your carbohydrate intake and titrating kind of your macros. So that is why, right? If you want to follow the basics, just add in more calories, increase your meals, increase the snacking frequency using the foods I recommended, right? The eggs, beef, chicken, fish, whole grains, things like that. But if you actually want to work with an expert and get a specific breakdown and a methodical approach to gaining an average of 1 pound per week, that's exactly what we specialize in. That's what we do. We help hockey players who they burn anywhere from, I don't know, some of them are training 20 hours a week and it's a lot and they're already super lean. So they could be eating, 7,000 calories per day and they're losing weight. So that's why it's so important to work with a sports practitioner that knows what they're doing and has additional tools in their toolbox. So I hope that this was helpful. We kind of debunked some things. I talked about casein and why you want to consume a little bit of casein protein before bed. It's slow digesting. I also talked about how you increase your calories at meals and snacks. Also talked about the average, numerical values of 3,500 calories equivalent to about a pound. You want to make sure that those 500 calories that you're increasing each day is in addition to understanding your baseline. So you'll gain weight by adding more calories, but it would be smart if you actually identified, hey, we're going to do a food recall for the next 24 to 48 hours. I recommend doing a day during the week, a weekend day, so that you have two variables and you can identify different schedule modalities and what takes place between training and activity, because obviously basal metabolic rate. So again, as we're unpacking these things, I think a lot of folks are understanding there's really more to this when you want to, go through the details of it, right? The devil is in the details. So highly recommend tracking your food, journaling it, understanding what we have for baseline calories. A lot of athletes are walking around eating, I don't know, maybe 2,500 calories. No kidding, you can't gain weight. You're losing weight. That's not enough to support growth, development, maturation, in addition to your energy needs on top of that. So there's a lot of people that don't understand that kids are still going through the Tanner stages. What are the Tanner stages? Well, they're going through the growth, development, and maturation. They're growing their bones, their muscle, their tissue. Their brain requires a significant amount of calories. So you have to account for their weight, height, training, activity factor, all those things that we factor in as practitioners into an equation. We understand baseline about roughly where they're at. And then from there, how much are they training? If their goal is to gain lean mass, where are we going to go from there, right? And typically most athletes are going to struggle with adding in 500 calories consistently because it takes time. It's difficult to eat because when you're very busy, you're a kid, right? It's just that time in the saddle, which most kids fall off the wagon because they're not being consistent. They're not consecutively stringing enough days together to eat enough food to actually see the increase in their lean mass on the scale, in their measurements, in their pictures, whatever measurement modality that you're choosing, which you need to test, don't guess. Test, don't guess. I can't say that enough. You have to measure it. What gets measured is well managed. So don't fly by the seat of your pants. Don't listen to charlatans that don't know what they're talking about. Don't listen to supplement companies that just want your money and they don't want to help you. Listen to the credible experts, and that's going to be your registered dietitian, predominantly your sports dietitians. Super important. Can't say that enough. Thank you so much for those that tuned in, that listened. If you liked this, please share it. Please share any of our videos, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I created a TikTok account to be hip with the cool kids, but just create awareness about this because it's so important. And our website, we have tons of information on there. Go check it out. Knowledge is power. It's really amazing as well that, again, we can learn all these things, but if you don't do anything with it, it is essentially useless, right? You read awesome books, but if you don't apply what you learned, it's useless. It was a waste of time if you don't apply it. So that's why the tips that we provide that I've been putting out for years are actionable, they're simple, they're basic, they're fundamental, and it's what gets people results. Go look at the testimonials of our football players, hockey players, basketball players, even our female basketball players. I've had several high school female athletes, both basketball, tennis, swim, gain 10 pounds of muscle. And they do it by eating the way that we tell them, these simple fundamental tips. So have an awesome day. Keep your eyes on the cross. God is good. God bless you all. And again, please share, please like, please support in any way possible. We really appreciate it.